But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. It is episode 30, 0x30. It's the 49th episode. That is in hex, just so you know, so it's episode 30. Today we have no guest, but we have an AMA, so if you can now ask a question during the show sometime, and we'll pull them up. We'll try to get through all of them, at least until we run out of time. And when you ask the question, if you can, include the city and country where you are. Not to dox you or anything, but just so we can see where the questions are coming from, to make it maybe more interesting. And this week, the Beaksy contest has concluded. So there were nearly 100,000 dragon given out. That's a good amount. And the results are at beaksy-contest.dragonchain.com, so you can go there and look at them and actually see the proofs of all of them, and check if you won in your Beaksy account and everything. Great stuff, and they're going to be continuing to use the system for all of their trading competitions, which will be really interesting. So we're going to get everything automated, and as we get that productized, we'll be using it ourselves a lot more too. So next up, we have a new language layer for Portuguese. So if you are a Portuguese speaker, Brazil or Portugal, go there. And if you're interested in joining the language layers for any other language, contact Tenacious Dragon or Bit by the Coin on either Twitter or Telegram, same handles. Basically, that's if you want to help moderate, help own one of these layers, and or want to create a new one in a different language. We've had requests the entire time we've been doing this in business from different communities, and usually it's about I'd like to do something for whichever language community, and this is now the formal way to do that, where there's actual rewards based upon matter inside a den, but also based in dragons, if you do run one of those layers and help out with translations and just getting people in. And it's interesting too because it connects to the existing, as a lot of you know, Telegram communities also, so hopefully there will be a lot of back and forth there. The next thing, let's see here. So we, some saw on Twitter that we got a ticker here that was from a secret admirer out there. Pretty cool stuff. It is I'll pull it over here. It's a full-on rocket. But they custom coded it at Voltage Goat to display dragon pricing in Satoshis. And when they're really great, and this is not sponsored by any means. They are not paying us for any of this, but they are really, really nice people. They're apparently in Seattle area anyway. They hand delivered this. So they also, though, did give us 2 of these wedges, which are price stickers, and they are definitely coded up for dragons. And here's one powered, which might or might not with the lights show, but really simple setup, really cool stuff, and really, really good people. Just talking to them has been really easy, and it's cool stuff. They have tickers and they have all types of neat cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin related things. So really neat stuff. How are we going to give them away? We just got them yesterday, so I don't know yet. We're probably going to give away both of these wedge tickers, though. I'm keeping the rocket one. It's Dragonchain property, so I'm keeping it. But one way or another, the other two we're going to give away, and we'll figure out how we're going to do it. It'll probably be something fun, so it'll be cool. All right, next, Open Source Money Treasure Hunt Week 1, Episode 1 winner. And that, so here, if you go to the contest page, which is dragonchain.com/contests/open-source-money, I think that's right. And it's on the contest where it's announced as well. But one way or another, it has all of the rules, all the terms, all the normal stuff that we have to put in there, and a description of the process and the rules, how you participate. But the first winner was chosen. I actually should have looked at the time it was chosen. But basically, as of, I believe that the contest had it marked for 6 a.m. Eastern, if I'm not, I think that's correct, and that 10 blocks from each of Ethereum Classic, Ethereum, and Bitcoin were used to select the winner. So there's no way that anyone could have gamed it in any profitable way, especially for the 2014 Dragons that were won. And there were only 492 entries, I believe. I believe that's right. And that you can actually download them. Next week it'll be easier, I believe. But right now it's in the code to check. So actually, if we can show the check code again. I didn't describe that. You can actually take this code that's in that gray block to your Python and your if you have Linux box, and you can run it there, or Mac, or you can go online. There are Python shells that you can get inside your browser, so you can paste this code in, run it. It'll give you the result, and then you can check it against those entries if you want. Right, pretty cool stuff. So anybody in the world could do that. That's the point of the system. It's pretty neat stuff. And if you have an org interested in adopting that, even for little stuff, even we're interested in seeing it used for what we say, like raffles or other things. We have a few groups that we're talking to about bigger uses. But we really want to try to get normal people to use it, and we're about to have the productized interface. We're going to be using it internally, probably for some merch giveaways in the coming weeks. But in the end, we want people to be able to go to this system, create their own contest, maybe upgrade and get a themed page or something. But to make it so that anybody could use this. You set up a contest, you get entries, it runs, you get the winner selected. No one has to worry about whether they trust that you are pulling a. I won't describe what group that was. Some of the more interesting or funny giveaways that have happened in crypto Twitter in the past year or two. So anyway, if you didn't win. For the open source money one, you still, if you have an entry in there, you still have an entry in the grand prize drawing. So for every week that you enter, you get another entry in the grand prize drawing. So make sure you come back every week here, watch our show, and then go find the clue, and then go watch open source money, and then enter. So anyway, next up we have episode 2. Open Source Money Treasure Hunt Clue number 2. So let's run that right now. Okay.
How much is it? Let me take a look here.
Big man. We should just call this show the giveaway show.
The
'cause that's all
giveaway
we're
show.
doing.
Yeah, the giveaway show. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah.
How much dragon are they going to give away on that show? 10,200 dragons.
That's crazy.
That's pretty sweet, dude. That's like $1,300. That's a chunk, man. And
Hey.
you have to be able to answer their question. The clue is, which two co-founders of Ethereum are featured in episode 2? Which two co-founders of Ethereum are featured in episode 2? That's clue. That's what you need to watch for. When you get the answer for that, you can go sign up for that giveaway and win 10,200 dragon.
Okay, so there you have it. 10,200 dragons, which that number is the number of tweets saved by Dragonchain's Save the Tweet bot on Twitter. So every tweet saved ends up on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, and Ethereum Classic with combined security. Okay, so there, and that is as of the date of that post on Ethereum, which I can't see the day. It is, well, whatever it is. It was a while ago. Either way, July 4th? Is it July 4th? Okay. All right, good deal. So it was July 4th, and that's basically 10,000 save the tweet bot entries into the chain itself. Eternal, of course, has things that weren't saved by the bot, so there's more than this on Eternal as well. But anyway, what we're doing every week is making sure that we have some interesting figure in there from either our metrics or our history from Dragonchain, and then you heard the clue. Go watch Satoshi Shawn show, or watch him this week as well. Good guy there. That interview we had was pretty fun. He was easy to talk to, so it was good. Probably better interviewer than I am. So one way or another, the contest itself, every week, you'll come here and we will give you a clue, or I guess we'll give you the place to go for the clue for every single episode. So every week we give you, okay, go see Satoshi Shawn. Satoshi Shawn will have the prize amount and the clue, and then you take that clue, you watch Open Source Money, you go back to the contest page, you enter, fill out the form, do all the good stuff, and that's about it. And then tune back in here the next week to see, or you can check on your own to see if you won before our show, because I think it's timed to happen a few hours before we air live on Thursday, which you can't predict absolutely, because Bitcoin blocks, as an example, could be much longer than expected, and we see how that goes. Let's see here. Did I get everything? Yes, enter. So dragonchain.com/contests/open-source-money. And once you go there once, it'll take you there easy. Just mark the page or something. Okay. I think that's everything we had to cover this week. We're going to come right back with the AMA after this. Okay, back with the AMA. So, first question. Why does the dragon chart look like a dragon right now? And this is from Distant. Well, that's actually planned. It's an Illuminati thing, we hear, that they're able to do that. And, the interesting thing is the predictor, because as it is right now, we have to decide which line is forming in Doge. Because I think that it's probably the neck, right? So we probably will have a head up and then probably a dive and then around, I assume, from the rear, right? And it just depends on what graphic they're using, of course. But, we can ping Rothschild and figure out maybe there's someone else in the room around you that we might know a little more about that than I. But I know that's what I hear. I've heard that on Telegram. People have DM'd me that. Okay. Next up, Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain. LOL. Any update? Oh, by the way, Distant didn't say where he was. Fail. That I should say that's a failure. But either way, Ivan, success. He is in Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain. Any update on Dragon Factor? Actually, there will be info on that coming out pretty soon. We have everything finalized legal. Everything's rolling out. We have, I think we've described it before, we have a couple of customers that are using it, and a couple of customers that we know will be using it, but they're not ready yet, and all the timing is set up. So we have to, after we roll it out, go through a couple of integration phases where we're going to be pulling in what already exists and that's being spun off, but then we're going to be pulling in a much more robust verification system where you'll be able to do multiple types of documents, passport, driver's license, and you'll be able to do like public record search, things like that as a business, to require that. And it's all DID, decentralized identity, so all that information will be owned by you. It'll be sent back to you, signed by a third party, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. So I'm not certain when we'll be announcing what we're announcing, but we have a few things coming out, and they should be in the coming couple of months, coming couple of weeks, depending. So anyway, that's it. All right, next question. Distant is in Gainesville, Florida, USA. Okay, great. All right, recovery. We like to forgive, but recovery is great. So let's see here. Distant. Okay, so also Gainesville, Florida. Is Dragonchain interested in designing a wrap for my Cybertruck if I pay for it in Dragon? We can give you files. I don't know if we're any good at... I'm good at layout, so I can help you with the layout, right? Tell you something's not balanced. I used to do logos and graphic layout for ads and things like this in the past, so I'm really good at making helping you figure out balance and spacing and stuff like that. Dragonchain Marketing knows this. They know this well. And that's from all times. Marketing knows that well, good and bad. But that I'll help that way. I don't know. Okay, let's see here. And you probably wouldn't have to pay for that. I should say that, right? That's not. Maybe we add this as a service. We could do graphic design. Some people know some things are coming up. We're going to have some interesting services we'll probably offer that are not very directly blockchain related because of the stuff that we're working on right now. But anyway, JH, USA, Georgia. Excellent. Have you seen interest grow from Dragon's target market, Fortune 500? I would say misconception that is absolutely our target market. That's the one everybody wants to talk about. Fortune 500. That's the one that's the obvious, especially in crypto world. Oh, if you actually get Microsoft signed, and not just, who was it that had a Microsoft contract, but it was just licenses to Word or something. We have an Office 365 partnership. Sorry. That makes a lot of hay in crypto, but our target market is business, because adoption is business, and small businesses make up a lot more of the U.S. market jobs and companies than those big companies. They're actually easier to deal with usually, because sometimes not, right? But they're usually easier to deal with because you don't have to wait for 3 months to get something done. It could be done in a couple of days. So our target market, though, is business, because all businesses potentially could use these features, these services. But have you seen interest grow from that market to the question? Yes, we've had actually a good number of discussions and calls with new customer prospects in that range than before, and a couple of really big projects that are pretty interesting. And we can't say what we're going to be doing yet or if we're going to be doing anything, but some really good, interesting stuff that obviously for revenue reasons and money reasons is amazing. But even if you are just looking at the tech and the use cases, I'd say some of the use cases that we're getting are, in my opinion, very valuable, very strategic, because we're going to be able to show things that will make it easier for people to understand how blockchain can be used, right? And that's probably the most important thing that we're looking to do. So, if anybody has any good strategic use cases, we're always game to help. Okay, next up, Mike Iannuzzi, San Diego, California. Do you know the number of views for the first episode of the documentary? Follow-up questions. We don't know yet. We've asked for ratings. We've experimented. We've talked about potentially just announcing the ratings every week. But I don't know when they're delivered. We've heard they're delivered late in the week. We've heard they're delivered on Thursdays. We don't know that, so we're going to find that out and see if we can't, release those numbers, that one way or another. And I don't know if streaming is included. I don't know if it's only network, cable. I don't know how they decide that, or if it's a survey like in the old days with Nielsen. I have no idea. Also, have translations shot up? Wait, translations. Also, translations shot up. Any idea on that? Oh, for the show. I know that when we do after the run, and a lot of people have asked because they can't get Discovery Science, maybe, that after the run, it will definitely be out there in other channels, other formats, and some of them are already decided. Some of them they're working on. So there's good stuff. It'll be much broader. It'll be much more internationalized. And I will have to ask. I don't know if they would do. It would be great if this is a stupid idea, but it'd be funny. It would be really funny if we could get the language layer people to do dubbed translations of at least the Dragonchain part. That'd be funny. Dumb idea, but that's funny. Either way, yeah, I assume we would have some closed caption translation, but we'll have to ask. That's not my department. Next up, Jim ML. Failure on the location, Jim. All right, let's see here. When are you going to stop selling tokens at market price? We're starting to get tired of seeing the price drop in a manipulated way. We sell no tokens at Dragonchain. Now, we do use tokens. We do have people that take vendors that take payment in tokens. That's been known from the beginning. That's the real world, and there's a lot more liquidity. We're holding a lot less tokens than we've ever held, right? I don't know what the latest numbers are. Somebody else can look that up. It's been posted, requested in Telegram, maybe even in Den for those numbers. The CoinMarketCap numbers just changed about maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that, 3 or 4 weeks ago. See if my memory on time is right. But it is much. There's a lot more circulating supply out there than there has ever been, and a lot less time as well. And we're actually looking at adjusting the time table on the console for the amounts that dictate the fee for every transaction, and which is good for node runners. So we're gonna probably adjust that soon. We have a couple of other good things to add to that. And anyway, you know that now. Don Holland again, Dawn. No location. Joe, how do you feel watching yourself on TV? It's horrible. And I've known this since the beginning, and I actually expected to not watch the show. Last minute, enough people pressured me that I did get an account on Philo. Someone needs to tell us the pronunciation. But and it's actually really simple to set up. So I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's like a DVR, very simple. We watched the show live, which was interesting, and I was like, oh, God, it's like I didn't want to see, and then it was worse hearing my voice, as you can imagine, with this, my voice on this. I need a new mic, by the way. I think a mic would improve it, make it much bolder. But how do I say this? It was bad, but the rest of the show was so excellent. I was like, in all truth, and you have to think this is for normies. This is very much for people who are not crypto Twitter people, and yet I think the team, the directors, it's like some amazing work, I think, because they really did take an extremely complex topic and make it simple, and make it approachable and not scary, so that hopefully we will get more people interested. Because once people get interested in blockchain and crypto, whether they're business people or normal people, they tend to get glued to it. So that's what we want, right? And we want to frame it in good light, get a lot of other good partners in there. I do not watch it before airing. In fact, we have to work with the team to figure out what the clue is. And they offer up a bunch, and I'm like, no, that's too confusing. That's good. Okay, that's a good clue, right? And we've not seen the show, so anybody see it just by chance that you know of that contacted you not knowing about the show? People from like on LinkedIn or on particularly LinkedIn or Facebook, right? That people have watched it that we may not have, I would have never expected to watch it, from my network as an example, or other people connected to them. So we've seen some of it, and we've had nothing but really good response and really good reviews. Hopefully that keeps up. I know there was a review on Cointelegraph which it actually blew my mind, because they actually took a fair look at it, and they had a really honest response, which does mesh up. I think they got it. It does mesh up. We're not trying to shill Dragonchain with this. We're trying to get blockchain out in front of people, and we are a particularly good example of a project well run and with interesting real tech, right? So that was the purpose, and they got it. It was really good. And then there was also another post about it on Bitcoin.com, particularly about the contest, and it seems that there is genuine, real interest in that capability and how it works. And when people get it, it's really interesting watching it, because they say, okay, we're going to use blockchain for this. I don't understand why. And typically they'll actually say, oh, because I'm going to give away Bitcoin or some cryptocurrency as a prize. And we're like, no. This is for any contest. We're just using that. You don't have to have any crypto given away at all. We've given away a keyboard. We've given away merch, I think, a mug or something, testing it out in the early days. So anyway, good stuff. Really cool. Any viewing parties for finale? I don't know. Yeah, maybe look. Okay, sorry. Ashwin Singh. That I took too long there. Ashwin Singh in New Jersey, USA. Thank you. Hey Joe, how involved is Disney with the Dragonchain project? Historically, we were originated there, we were created there, we were built there, and we were released from there. And they basically, if you love something, set it free. They let us go, and we basically requested permission. And you can look, all the documents are up on Den, and the description of the process, all types of interesting tech involved in getting it released, and lots of legal work. But they basically approved us because it was going to be otherwise thrown into my hands personally, and I proposed that we should probably create a foundation that can hold the code, the IP, it owns the Dragonchain name as an example, and so they have that. And since then, we're not working directly with them. I've not, in fact, early on, I purposely kept a safe distance just because I did not want to upset anyone over there. It just wasn't worth it. And in time, and we still have friends there, we still have network there, and we do still talk to them occasionally. Obviously, especially the good ones. There are a lot of good ones, but not everybody is good there. So, okay, next up. Ivan with no location. Are Dragonchain and Divi progressing about the partnership and updates? We're actually, they're extremely busy, we're extremely busy, so we're trying to keep up with each other and trying to get things, as they should be moving forward. We know, and yet it seems we keep adding projects, which are, good. They are very good projects, but there's a lot of them, so we're in the middle of stuff. I don't have any updates for you. Maybe I can check back with Jeff and see. Extremely nice people. My problem is I'm not on Telegram as much as I used to be, so a lot of that's my fault. Any missed time there. So, okay, next question. We have Robin Claessens 1. Do winners get an email? Usually, everybody gets email, right? No, but yes, we would expect that the winner of the open source money contest, week 1, episode 1, will be notified by email soon, very soon. And it is 2014 Dragons, so it's probably under any taxable amount, reportable amount, but we have to check all that stuff. So you will get an email with instructions on how to claim, and I think that's probably good. Wheels for Hands. No location. Will there be a plug and play for a provably fair platform for people to run their own contest? No coding needed. If yes, when? Yes, and it probably won't even be plug and play. We'll probably we might have some ability of premium account to embed it in your own site, but otherwise it'll probably be a site that you just give people a link to. Say this is our contest. Here's how you enter, and it'll have the basic forms. It'll have all the things you see in our contests, but they'll be automated, and they might be simplified. The contests might end. Or be chosen 10 blocks right after the end. We have the ability with the custom contests to set in the contract that, and it's on chain, so it's provable as well, that the winner will be selected after a certain point in time, arbitrary. So, but yes, it'll be something that ideally, it'll be something that anyone can use. And we don't know the tiers, so I don't know whether we will have a free tier or not, but it might be cool, right? We'll see. So, next question from Ivan again. When is CTLC update planned? We don't have a date for it yet. We're still ironing out some of the final numbers on how we will determine the price. It will be organic to the ecosystem, and it will be transparent. It will be an algorithm, a smart contract. It will be something that is declared on chain, and that if it does vary based upon what plan someone gets, that there will be a reason that you were the one selected, and that was the plan that paid for this particular CTLC contract. So. We're going to try to simplify as much as possible, though. So, and yeah, I wish I had a date, but I don't. There is more important, more higher priority items right now. So, apologies there. Okay, Distant again in Florida. Don't forget a DIN update. That's a good point. So, we just had a release. I thought we had a release yesterday, even. Either way, maybe not. So follow and unfollow users. That's the big release point. And this is still, Den is still in beta. Matter and Lore and Lot are not yet actually out the gate. Matter is on Ethereum, but we're going to re-release it and with some tighter integrations, and we're also going to be releasing Lore and Lot relatively soon. We're hoping August, September. That's my hope. Depends, but it'll probably be after open source money is completed because there's so much going on right now. But maybe we surprise. We'll see. But either way, all of that stuff will be happening. But right now, the beauty with this release is that if the layers are too broad, if you're saying, okay, look, I love the red pill layer, but there's too much noise there, right? I really end up just wanting posts from these two people. So I can not subscribe to the layer, but I can subscribe to posts from two people that very often post in that layer and sometimes post in other layers, right? So you get it's like a Twitter model plugged into a Reddit model. So I can either follow groups or layers, or I can follow people, right? So interesting stuff there. Right now you can't see who's following you, but you can see who you are following. So we're going to, I think they did that to make sure we wanted that. They basically built this in. So we're going to figure that out. I think we want to be able to see who follows you, though. Pretty sure. You can now do quote blocks. I've been asking for this forever because whenever I quote something, you can't tell where my content is and where the quote is. It was rendering it, but it was not styling it in the browser. So now the quote blocks will be styled. It will be nice and pretty for many other things, maybe even for the super happy recap. We'll see. Capitalizing title before stirring API, remove nav item if not authenticated, normal stuff. A couple of little fixes there. Really good release, and we have a couple of other things coming up as well that are very interesting before we roll out for with everything else. So, thank you, Distant. Mackinnon Rice in Toledo, Ohio. Could you explain how the slumber scores work? Okay, so how do I say this? We created this system in 2017, and if you were in Bitcoin in the early days, you would have heard of something called Bitcoin Days Destroyed. Okay, and it was an interesting concept that people typically use for reasons of risked price or interest in whether Satoshi is still with us, that they would follow movement of any of the big whales, any of the big addresses. That if you had a large movement of Bitcoin, that they would take the number of days that those Bitcoin had sat in a wallet, and that would be the loss. So it was calculated on a loss. So if, let's say that I had 1 Bitcoin in a wallet that was 800 days old, and I moved that 1 Bitcoin, that's 800 days destroyed in Bitcoin. And it was way to determine, okay, because the biggest, oldest accounts would be Satoshi's accounts or any of the early miners. And so that was an interesting concept, and I wanted to use the opposite of it to incentivize a number of things. So I'll get to how it works in a second, but we wanted to incentivize people to not keep their coins on an exchange. We wanted to incentivize people to put them on a hardware wallet. We wanted to incentivize people to do all the things because we knew, having come out of Disney and having gotten some exposure and some attention from that fact, meant that we would have a lot more normal people, a lot more normies that weren't already crypto savvy in the community. And we, basically our community was very well trained. So we basically wanted to incentivize best practices for security for these people. And this was primary to the way that was done. So, and that was the main reason we put it together, so that people would hold them safe and don't just, put them on an exchange and leave them there where you're more likely to be trading them. And so it does very much limit liquidity in exchanges, which is interesting because a lot of people rate that as bad for us. But we were like, well, we're wanting people to hold them in order to maintain this metric, this time metric. And originally it was called Dragon Days of Slumber, to be themed, Dragonchain. And then we made it Dragon Days of Slumber, so that we didn't have confusion with dentists, DDS in the US. At least that's, that was the primary. It's like, why didn't we use days? We should have had DDSS. So we called that for a while. And then in the great rebrand of 2019, as many of you remember, and we'll have Chad on someday. We'll get Chad on here. It'll be an interesting show. We did. That was one of the primary things we did in the rebrand. We did an open source release. We changed DDSS to time, and that was very much because when we're talking to businesses, it is an extra level to describe what I just described to you about DDSS. It's much easier to say time. Time is calculated by the number of dragons that you hold times the number of days that they are held in a single address. And it's you can add more dragons to that address, and it basically boosts the amount that you get every day. So it's basically, if I'm holding 10 dragons in my address, I'm going to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Then I add, let's say, another 10. Now I'm going to move up by 20 every day, right, in time. That's as simple as it is, and it's daily. And you can go to the time leaderboard and see, among other metrics, you can see what rank your time is in the leaderboard itself. And what we do with the slumber scores, or with time, is in the old days we used those to gate beta tests, beta releases, that if you had a high enough time, you could actually get into more of our early software to help us test out. And it was a really clear, clean way to limit access to that without having to do a sign up for, beta invite or anything else. We don't have to do any of that infrastructure. And we've actually successfully sold this fact to a couple of different places, but one way or another, it's an extremely interesting way to do a loyalty product, right? That time system means something, and the more things you can add to that time system, the more valuable time will be. We then did roll out a system in DragonNet that basically, in a very balanced way, lets the community use time to dictate how much they get as a proportion of the fees on a block. So the more time you apply at any level, if you know our architecture, which we won't go into here, the more you get of the fees for that block that the business is paying. And on the business side, the more time you have, the lower fees you pay. So it's a really balanced system. So if I have a lot of time, I actually want businesses to come in and have less time early. So they're paying right now 50-cent transaction fees. At the same time, I do want big businesses that come in that have thousands of transactions that run them down to a penny or a quarter a cent. Or we right now our lowest that we have is 1/100 of a cent, but we're going to be adding more to that. So it's an interesting concept, and it was the basis. All of these points were the basis of claims in a patent that we were awarded. I think in 2019. I think it was. I can't remember the date, but one way or another, we were awarded the time patent. Which is basically on loyalty systems, but I think probably the more valuable part of it is the blockchain scalability component. The claim that basically there's some security angles as well, but the primary is scalability and how that's used. So that's a long answer. Sorry, Mr. Rice, Mrs. Rice. Brian Schmecker in Orlando, Florida. I always get that pronunciation wrong, Brian. Sorry about that. Is there a happy ending to the docuseries, or did the SEC give some clearance after investigation started? question mark. Let's see here. I don't think we can. I think I'm legally obligated to not expose anything in the episodes in the future. I don't know them all either. So obviously I don't know exactly how it ends in any way. But I know some things, obviously. And some things I know are included and some things weren't included. And I was reminded of something yesterday evening that we've never exposed that we probably ought to post something in Den about. That would be just a good, I guess behind the scenes to some of the stuff. But either way, I'll keep people guessing on that till we do it maybe. But one way or another, we don't know. So yeah. Okay. So and also, Brian Schmecker, are you concerned or elated that Clayton is out at SEC? It seems the market is indecisive until someone is appointed. Obviously, right? I'm neither concerned or elated, but I guess I would be less concerned than elated because I think you're more likely to get someone that would be helpful to the industry and to commerce. We should say that because the politicians should be told that this is a jobs issue, that the amount of high-end future-proof tech jobs that have exited the U.S. because of what's happened in the past 2 years is pretty enormous. I mean, there's still some crypto companies that maintain a presence here, as you can see by the acceptance of the bailout loan, not bailout, whatever they are, the loans. I can't remember what it's called. There are some crypto companies that are Asian even that have U.S. presence with employees here, which some of that surprised me. But one way or another, the more change you have in a bureaucracy, depending upon the direction of the change, obviously, but the more disruption you have, probably the better for the entities that might or might not be regulated. So, there's a chance we could get Pearson there, right? Which she understands what we're trying to do. At least it's our opinion that she understands what is going on in our industry, and that there are good participants as well as bad, and that they should probably pick on the bad ones. The fact that anything that has happened in the past 2 years blows my mind in that I've never seen BitConnect frog marched anywhere, right? So speaking of what we spoke about last week, that, I think it's pretty obvious that they were bad, and whether everybody was I don't know personally, I've never even kept up with it because I wasn't even interested when it was going on, except in the potential humor, but of how ridiculous they were being. But the fact that there's apparently still out there blows my mind. Maybe they paid a fee, and yet blackmail or I guess bribes are not legal, but unless they're too institutionalized, maybe that's how that works. I have no idea. But either way, that's that. So next question, Enrique Perdoncini, I think. Enrique Perdoncini with no location. Where? Maybe that is his location. Doesn't Dragon have the same link? Does Dragon have the same capabilities in DeFi as Link, like supply chain traceability? We have some overlaps, obviously. They've gone after some interop, which, frankly, I think we operationally own, right? And I don't want to say that we're the only ones with the rights to do certain things, but we do have a patent on certain things, and there are some certain interesting angles there. But on the very positive side, they are doing real things with real people, and they should be given credit. And we definitely focus on some other areas. I mean, it seems that they are mostly focused on decentralized oracles, which, I was just on a panel last week on some of that, so you can see some of my views there, positive and negative. And negative isn't negative as like, oh, this is horrible. It's negative as in, I don't think it's the top priority for the industry to be doing absolutely completely decentralized oracles, because I've never met in business or personal a person who said, I need a decentralized oracle to build this, right? It is a good positive thing, and there are some cases where in particular something like Augur project, and I've not kept up with Augur project to know how well they're progressing or anything, but they obviously need decentralized oracles. They have a rep system, they have all that stuff. Like I said, I've not kept up with it to know how well it works or how easy it is to use, but cases like that do nearly pretty much require decentralized oracles to work. And yet my question is, I'm a big student of history, and I wonder, I wonder whether those will need to be purpose built. I could see some cases if you have a good generic rep system, but if I have a rep system that isn't namespaced for a project, then it makes it hard, because someone with good reputation telling the truth on the weather might be really bad about reporting on sports. But if they're namespaced for my community, or particularly my question, then it becomes really the huge question of incentives and how do I get enough people to participate if I'm competing. And the noise in crypto is horrendous. So if I have a little crypto project, or I'm wanting to use a decentralized oracle, how do I get enough participation in answering my question to be able to effectively use it, right? So anyway, that's a very complex answer, but it hits that's their focus, and we've chosen not to focus on that. We've chosen to focus on generic platform capabilities, which include protection of business data, protection of business logic in smart contracts, that they are not on full chain, and an interoperable security leverage, which is our what we consider the second dimension in interop. Which, I think we have a post on that somewhere that ties in that we think that interchain interop between chains is extremely important for token transfer. We use it. We've used it since our start in 2018. We didn't even broadcast it or announce that we were using it, because we wanted to make sure it was working really well before people really caught wind of what we were doing, because it was full interop between Ethereum and Dragonchain that we could easily migrate to Ethereum Classic or to some other chain, potentially even Bitcoin. There are ways to do it, and yet Ethereum works. Its killer app is the token, and it works really well if you want a token, and so we leverage that. The second dimension is the interchain for security, which no one else is even looking at. Nobody else is even doing, as far as I know. There are a couple people that are hashing into Ethereum or hashing into Bitcoin with non-chain systems, which is valuable and interesting. But what we've tried to do is make that generic, repeatable, where you don't have to code your own, you don't have to do anything special, but every single transaction you send is immediately on, within about 17-20 seconds on about 6 or 7 DragonNet verification nodes. But then within minutes and then hours, it will be on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic, and Binance as well. So it's an interesting system. And there's more to it than that. Then we talk about utility. Then we talk about another dimension, which is traditional integration, traditional systems interop. So we do know there's a little bit of overlap, because we do have time-based oracles, and you can see videos on a demo of that. We have basically self oracles, where a chain can interact because of our hybrid architecture. It can actually run arbitrary code, so you can go and pull from other systems, including something like Link. You could pull from a decentralized oracle, which is really what we would like to extenuate to the Link community in particular, is that in places where you have a decentralized oracle, we can be a very easy integration point for a traditional system. where it doesn't have to be crypto aware, it doesn't have to be anything else, but it can get the answer from a link, an oracle, without direct integration with link. I mean, it's, really simple RESTful calls. So anyway, next up, Mike D with no location. Has Clue 2 been announced? Yes. So watch the history, watch the show again, right? Watch the whole thing again, because you might miss something. All right, so start at the beginning and watch until the end again. You might miss something. Okay, so let's see here. Artwork by Skaz in Austin, Texas. Hey Joe, on a different note, how would I go about getting a vector file of your logo? I would like to see if I could do something cool with it, if that is okay with your company. Okay, so two things here. I think we can make that. I think we've made that available in the past, right? Like, I'm gonna look. Okay, yes. So we can make that available. There are certain restrictions, obviously. You can do things, memes. You can do things that are fun and out there, normal. You can't sell something with it on there yourself because of trademark violation and copyright violation, and I don't know what else. And because we want to use the merch as another funding mechanism for your favorite project. But the great thing about it is we have a program that is about to launch. We're trying to work out all the details, but where an artist or designer can use the logo or can use even their own depictions of the logo, and we will, if accepted, so it's like, okay, that's really good, and we might ask, okay, can you not, maybe we don't want curse words in it or something else, right? But either way, that we might, we'll talk with you, and then we will put it in our merch store, and you'll get a cut of the profit, the revenue. So that would be the best angle, because then we can actually get it exposed more. So, and you can work with us if you want on the design, or you can surprise us. Maybe we love it, so it'd be good. I'm picky, but so I might filter my comments through someone else. Okay, let's see here. Next up, Brian Schmicker. Is Dragon looking to hire more people to keep up with demand? Yeah, I'd love to hire more people to keep up with demand. We don't have any jobs posted or anything like that, but the right person, the right talents. I know we have something. I need to get a hold of someone, because we do need something from someone that I've not had a chance. And I say this because I know people are listening that have asked me to reach out to this person. So okay. Anyway, Rizzy Shaukat. Is that Shaukat? Shukat? Shaukat? Rizzy? And is it Ritzy or is it Rizzy? Ping me on Telegram, because I actually want to know that, and because I always forget your actual real name, and I have this with a lot of the people where our name in Telegram or on Twitter is what I associate with you forever, even once after I find your real name. So I have to Okay, so when am I going to shave, Joe? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? Okay. Don Holland, Austin, Texas. Any lot or lore update for Den? They're working the contracts. They've gone through a bunch of tests. They are doing they're fairly complex Ethereum token contracts that also integrates the ability to do the LCP, the layer creation process, which we do believe, and I think we've demonstrated that it can be a very valuable, potentially a very key component of layer of Den itself and the way that layers are created, because it'll be a very different feel from Reddit. It'll be a very focused economy to incentivize people to create a layer with gusto, with full intention to make it usable for people in a community, and then to draw those people into that layer as owners as well. That the fact that we're kind of kickstarting it by saying, let's let the community decide which layers are created every month, and we add some scarcity to it as well. So you're like, when is the whatever layer going to be actually made? And it's an interesting thing, because we're pushing all the priorities off to the community, which includes ownership in that layer itself, which is a crazy beautiful thing. We'll talk about more in the future when we turn all that on. Coca-Cola. Dragon 10 symbol looks like a Q. Does it? Can you pop that up? Does it look like a Q? Let's see. Okay, if I tilted it, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it does look a little bit like a Q. That nothing intentional there. It was a third party. The actual, I guess, the shape itself is a phi symbol, right? A lowercase phi, which is what's, and I'm going to get this wrong, so apologies. Certain people in the press will probably call me out for getting these numbers wrong. No, but either way, it's about it is Fibonacci related, right? So the 43rd number in a Fibonacci sequence is 433,494,437 dragons. I hope I got that right. Man, I kind of blanked in the middle there. And that, so it's big. It's on our. In fact, if we can pop up, let me do this because I know that Blake is doing other things. If we pop up the what do you call it? The crest, the dragon family crest, which anybody holding dragon has the rights to use. All right, so you have the right to use that if you hold dragons. If not, we will come after you. Right, the dragon family will come after you. But one way or another, it's actually prominent on the shield or whatever you call it in that symbol, and so that is, and because the voting and a lot of the matter mining components are Fibonacci related, so that they're a pleasant organic curve upwards, so that I can click a couple times and vote a little bit, or I can click a not ridiculous number of times and vote a lot more, right? So it's easy to get really high up into the votes. We'll demo that sometime. We have some interesting stuff coming up on the, I'm waiting for it, if anybody's watching, features on the voting widget that I want it to be fewer clicks, and we have built something, and there is some pretty cool stuff where it basically, instead of having to click the vote button, click the amount, click commit, that it would be clicking the vote button, and if you hold off, if it's a small vote, it'll time out real fast and it's committed. And if it's a really high vote, then you have a little more time to cancel it. If the cat was on your keyboard or some stupid thing and clicked 40,000 energy or something like that, you'd be able to cancel it within a reasonable amount of time. And then after that, it's gone. But it'll be fun. It'll be neat, and it's energy, so it's not so big of a deal. So, Austin, Texas, Don Holland. Are there still plans to spin off Den? Yes. Part of it's already happened. Legally, I don't know. I know it's not complete. I know that we still have to do a couple of final things, but I know the paperwork is there, and we will hopefully announce that. It'll probably go out at the same time that we push out Lore and Matter and Lot. So that'll probably be that period of time. And there are some, as speaking of the spin-off, keep this in mind. There's something that will be in that announcement that we don't have finalized, so I can't tell you everything about it, but it has to do with ownership, actual ownership of the Den entity. That will be interesting. That that meshes well with how we do things. So okay, next up. Are we almost? That's it. That's it. Last question. So we need to wait to say it's the last question. That is great. So thank you, everybody. We're going to do now. We're going to show you. Go to the merch page. Check out the new items. We've added a whole bunch of historical items. If you look in here, I mean, there's the Trump one. There's a Bernie one in there. So there's an Angel one I'd never even seen myself. There's a Time Whale one in there. There's I believe there's even an embroidered hat in there, which we've been waiting forever to get, and we had to change art, and we had to do a bunch of other stuff. We found a good supplier, and we do have a giveaway. So for anyone watching, anyone here, that this shirt, and there are two forms of it. There's one which is white letters. This is a quote from Open Source Money episode 1, and we're going to start doing these, we think, for every episode. And this is a quote from me that we modified. we took license with my quote because I think I was describing what I thought Bitcoin looked like when I first saw it, 2010. But that one way or another, the interesting part of it is, change the way that the world understands value, right? Pretty cool quote. And, the simple Bitcoin logo. So it's good stuff. There's a second version that has has black text on it that is actually pretty cool. On some of the shirts we couldn't put it on, or we could have put it on black, we didn't. So it's readable at least. But a different look to it. Pretty cool though. So that's there, and the giveaway code is a coupon code on the site, and it is SHDL-OSM-1. So Super Happy Dragon Lucky Open Source Money -1. Episode 1. Watch the episode again. I don't know how again, we'll hopefully get numbers, and hopefully they're good. Well, who knows? You can't expect a lot given the time slot, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it'll get noticed. So tune in next week for the next clue, and where to find it, the answer, and subscribe to Philo if you don't already, or get your cable turned back on to get Discovery Science. I do recommend Philo though. It was very smooth for me. It was very easy to use. It plugged into the Amazon devices. You can run it on your Android phone. I don't have an Apple device, so I don't know on that. But I've heard good things there too. So tune in next week for the next clue. Go buy some merch. Subscribe. Vote on this. Give us a thumbs up. And thank you very much for joining us.